Kwaning.
And I am Judith Brown, coming up in the Bulletin this afternoon. This afternoon, Electricity Company of Ghana ECG and Ghana Water Company Limited cite galamsey as main cause of higher operational costs, urging consumers to help bear financial burden through increased tariffs.
Also coming up this afternoon, technical advisor at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, says Ghana is committed to sustainable energy.
And the private legal practitioner Godwin Eduji Tamaklo says the High Court should not entertain the latest judicial review application by the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. We have details of these and many more coming up shortly. Do stick and stay with us.
We are live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from the educational front. Form 1 students who were posted into various senior high schools weeks ago are beginning their second cycle in education. The first students are reporting at the various placed in schools. We are going to the Shantu region where our team has been observing the current situation in some senior high schools across the region. William Evans Inku joins us live from Kumasi. William, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Which schools have you visited this morning? And let us know the situation this morning.
Well, so George, this morning I spent some time at the Prempeh College, and that is where Form 2 and 3 students were departing, but freshers were also joining. So it was a very interesting scene of departure and arrival. But what I witnessed was that this time around, unlike the previous admission season where, there were lots of freshers reporting and also going through the admission process, the numbers were a bit low. But the understanding is that because the current administration's policy to, also annexing private second cycle institutions to absorb the numbers is also making high recording numbers as far as especially the grade A schools like Prempeh College, was. For instance, we're seeing different spectacle this morning. So that has been the reason. So I didn't see a lot of, new students reporting this morning, although there were a number of them leaving because of the fact that from both Form 2 and Form 3, people are going to spend some time. For Form 2, we know that they are spending at most 3 months. For Form 3 students, the final students, they are coming after 10 days. But for the freshers, they are reporting, but not with high numbers as it used to be the case. George.
In private schools, the government is trying to pay some 650 to the parents, so they are going to absorb the tuition fees. What are parents saying about this very decision by government?
Well, they are happy, even though 2 of the parents and guardians that are engaged will not want to speak on camera, but they were happy and, of course, giving high ratings to the current administration about the policy.
Thank you so much, Evans, for your time. William Evans Inku, Mr. Ashanti, regional correspondent. Judith.
Right, and facing public backlash over proposed tariff increases, utility providers are pointing to illegal mining or galamsey as the primary driver. Well, they argue that the activities of miners have drastically increased and production costs for both water and electricity. At the Public Utility Regulatory Commission Forum in Kumasi, the Electricity Company of Ghana ECG and the Ghana Water Company Limited GWCL stated that providing reliable services depends on consumers sharing the financial burden. We are joined by Ibrahim Abubakar for more on this. Ibrahim, good afternoon to you. Now, what more have the utility providers been saying? Well, we're working the lines to reach Ibrahim Abubakar for more on this particular issue. Ibrahim, if you can hear me, I'm asking really, what have the utility providers been saying about this? Hello, Ibrahim.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. I'm asking what the utility providers have been saying.
So we do know that electricity and water providers have been pushing for notable tariff increase to sustain their operations. And also, a major review of utility tariff is expected to take effect somewhere in January 2026. And the PURC has to engage stakeholders extensively to make sure that the necessary adjustments will be approved by consumers. But they are justifying why they need such tariff agreement or increment, because they are saying that illegal mining operations, popularly known as the Galamsey activity, has increased or has even tripled the cost of production. For Electricity Company of Ghana, they are saying that because they have some of their major cables within the forest zone, these miners with the activities destroy a lot of them. It means that they have to replace with a lot of cash. For Ghana Water Company, they are at the pollution level, the turbidity level, and the water that is expected to have maybe 100 turbidity level is now recording over 10,000 turbidity level. It means they have to spend a lot of money to be able to produce. Even with that, they are making losses when it comes to the production. For that matter, Ghanaians will have to bear with them and help them be able to defray their costs by accepting those increments. Let's listen to what representatives of the utility services have been saying at the engagement.
You know, in Ashanti region, there's a lot of galamsey going on. You know, if you look at our network, passes through the forest, the bushes. We have the ones at the utility corridor. And the activities are, you know, they are digging under and they are moving towards the roads. You understand? And they are leaving the holes and the trenches, and it's dangerous. Apparently, immediately we have a small rainstorm, the poles are coming down because they are just destroying the base. And that's affecting stability of power supply. So immediately the lines go down. You can have about 4 or 5 poles going down. It means that you have to spend more money to come and replace them.
Our production cost has increased significantly, and this is because of the pollution. Chemical cost is gone up because of more use of the chemical, and also we have breakdowns of our equipment because of high turbid water, frequent shutdowns, and it's even affecting our service because we don't get so much water to supply. Because the water is so turbid, when you treat a quantity, you just get about 60%, sometimes 50% of it. The other must be thrown away, and that is affecting us in a way.
What has been the response of these consumers as well as the PURC?
Well, I can tell you that mixed reactions. While others have admitted that yes, indeed, they've seen for themselves the destruction caused by these illegal miners, and for that matter, the need for that increment. Others are also a bit indifferent because they believe that it is the duty of the government to ensure that all these miners are flushed out from the system, and they as consumers shouldn't be the ones to be bearing the cost of the activities of these miners. So it was a bit of back and forth, but it's okay. But for PURC, who is the regulator, they have also assured the consumers that they will not allow the utility providers to shortchange them, and for that matter, whatever decision that they will take will be in the best interest of the consumers. Let's listen to the Executive Director of PURC, Dr. Shafiq Suleiman.
Anytime the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is considering is to ensure that there's a fair balance. The consumer's interest, as I keep saying, is always the ultimate. Here is the case. The most important issue we also have to always consider is to ensure that the service is even available for at the first place. And consistently, supply of power has been a little bit stable all across the country, including the Ashanti region. We are hoping that it remains so for the rest of the year and the rest of the next coming years, and ensure that the consumer is always getting fair and quality services at all times. At the same time, it is a burden. We all know. We don't like to pay. We all know it's a burden on us. But let's try and also adjust our incomes a little bit to be able to pay to the utilities, to also get something to sustain the quality of service that we are expecting from them.
Well, many thanks for your time. Ibrahim Abubakar is our Ashanti regional correspondent. He has been giving us more details on really what the utility providers have been saying about Galamsey being the cause of the increase in utility costs.
In more news this very afternoon, technical advisor at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana, says that though Ghana acknowledges that sustainable energy is here to stay, the country is moving at its own pace and not rushing in its efforts to reduce carbon footprint. Speaking at the Africa Sustainable Energy Center's sideline event during World Energy Week 2025, he explained that Ghana is fully aligned with global efforts to decarbonize, but locally. Ghana still depends largely on hydrocarbons and net industrialization. Thus, renewable energy alone cannot meet the pace of the country's development. Dr. Sulemana highlighted that the breakthrough needed to accelerate renewable energy transition and expansion is in battery storage that has a large-scale capacity to store solar energy that can push industrialization. So, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana is technical advisor at the Ministry of Energy and he joins us live on Zoom. Good afternoon, Doc. How will Ghana balance industrial growth with cutting carbon emissions?
Yeah. Good afternoon, George, and to your cherished viewers, and Judith as well, to your cherished viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Yeah, indeed, it's going to be a strategy at work where you need to understand what drives where you have your competitive advantage, whilst not losing sight of what the global trend will be. Yes, so Ghana is committed to sustainable energy, undoubtedly, and so it's not by mistake that the ministry is now christened as Minister of Energy and Green Transition, with a whole directorate that is dedicated to renewable energy. However, if you look at renewable energy, not only in Ghana or green energy as we speak, it's not still enough to guarantee global energy security. Globally, Africa and Ghana will still need a lot of hydrocarbons to industrialize. Even the industrial world need a lot of hydrocarbons to stay industrialized. And so what we need to do, the strategy forward, is the fact that whilst we don't lose sight and still do investment into the renewables, we have to continue investing into our oil of hydrocarbon, and then we invest in what we call carbon sinking and carbon capture technology. I say if we do that with various strategies in place, whilst you still have a well of hydrocarbon in place, because at the end of the day, George, it's about the release of the obnoxious gases, CO2, methane, and then the rest. So if you have technology that can capture that, then you are good to go. You will have that pace to invest still in well of hydrocarbon whilst you net your emissions. So the strategy is that we are gravitating towards netting our emissions, trying to increase our target so far as solar is concerned, by 10% with respect to the renewable energy generation base within our power sector.
Okay.
Yeah, George.
Doc, so what's the plan to tackle solar energy storage limitations?
Yeah, so it's a global event, and so studies are still ongoing. It's not, let's say, localized to Africa or to Ghana. At the end of the day, like I mentioned, renewable energies are what we call seasonal. And that's actually one of the bottlenecks for it that confronted in terms of its ability to industrialize nations. So, yes, so studies are ongoing to make sure that we have smarter battery storage that can store renewable energy, especially solar, for a elongated period of time. In Ghana, in our effort, we are also looking at several ways in which we can also invest in technologies that can unlock this. So yes, it's a phenomenon that is ongoing, and hopefully with the required investment and dedication, that can be a breakthrough. At the end of the day, if let's say renewable energy, George, can give answers to global energy security, everybody will transition, but we're going to transition on our own pace, a transition that will not impact our energy poverty, a transition that will not impact our energy security. And that's exactly what we are doing. And like I mentioned, and carbon capture is one of the ways that we're doing that.
Lastly, how will carbon capture fit into Ghana's energy transition?
Yeah, so that's a very good one. So if you notice, when we talk about carbon capture, let's say Ghana Gas, for instance, Ghana Gas is exploring possibilities of making sure that they have zero emission, having zero emission. And the good thing is that if you have that technology that can capture whatever little emissions that you have, it's going to be a credit for you, what we call carbon credit. And you can even earn from that as a form of investment. And so I know that the minister is supporting Ghana Gas to champion, to engage a lot of, to engage some dedicated and smart organizations that have the technology to be able to do the carbon capture. We're talking about some methane capture that is within the pipeline or on the horizon. And if you manage to do that, George, what will happen is that once you capture the gas, you turn it to other uses. In fact, it can even be used for power generation and other petrochemicals. So yes, even within the upstream, Talo and other players, they are all investing into areas where they will have what we call zero flaring. And once you capture the gas, it's going to, apart from it's helping your environment and to achieve your carbon credit ratings, it will also help to drive investment into the sector at the end of the day, George.
Okay, Doc, yesterday I saw you at the electoral voter house where the minister met with VRA and ECG. He mentioned that the budgetary allocation of some 25 billion is used to address the energy sector shortfalls. He fears that it will be increased to 35 billion. Don't you think that the sector is in crisis?
Not at all, of course, but we are not leaving anything to chance. If you notice, the approach of Honorable Minister is a minister who engages a lot. And that's one of the things that will happen. And it's yielding a lot of results. And if you look at what is happening within the power sector, I mean, we've seen a little bit of stability. What we are trying to endanger, what we are trying to achieve is holistic efficiency. And that's one of the drive that he was talking about. So the bane of the issues is about efficiency. This all recovery, the space, that 28 billion that is going and the potential for it to increase to 35 is because of waste and because of power that cannot be accounted for. And I can tell you that ECG is doing a fantastic job. Okay. The leadership of ECG, I must commend them. Okay. They are addressing the issues with leakages, to the satisfaction of everybody. Sure. And I think there's huge light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of the day, we just need to arrest the leakages and become phenomenal efficient, and then we can reduce these leakages, George.
Yeah. Doc, thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us. Dr. Yusuf Sulemana is the technical advisor at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transitions, Judith.
Let's stay on energy now, and government is preparing to prosecute culprits of the ECG missing container saga. Now, this comes at a time when the Energy Ministry reports 1,500 of retraced containers have been cleared from the port. Judge Kwaning reports the sector minister is confident that the law will take its course to bring all perpetrators to justice.
In March this year, some containers belonging to ECG were reported missing. Some months down the line, the ministry has accounted for some 2,600, with 1,500 cleared from the port so far. In the award of this contract, John Abdullah Jinapo questioned why a board threshold of 3 billion cedis bloated to 9 billion cedis. The energy minister was emphatic that persons found culpable would be prosecuted.
The taxpayers' money must be accounted for. Nobody would allow this in his or her company. We shouldn't have been there. If ECG was your company and you were the shareholder and you invested money in it, and your management came to tell you that they've awarded contracts about 9 billion when the board approved contracts for just about 3 billion. It's been a very, very difficult task. But like I said, we should never go that path again. And as minister, I will not tolerate that. If it happened in the past, it must not happen today. We've handed the full document to the Attorney General. He's studying it. And if people are found culpable, I'm very confident that the law will take its course. We are not victimizing anybody. We are doing what is right and what is proper.
Managing Director of ECG, Julius Pepena, said the power distributor has managed to keep the lights on and also cut unnecessary expenditure.
We are well on the way to spending significantly below the approved budget this year. I have been in ECG and associated with ECG for over 30 years, but this will be the first time ECG is spending below the budget.
John Jinapo also engaged management and staff of Water River Authority, VRA, where he disclosed the need to acquire more power plant for VRA, but at affordable and competitive prices.
Demand is increasing, and demand is projected to hit about 8,000 by 2040 thereabouts. Are we going to bring IPPs to fill that 4,000 megawatts gap? And are we going to pass all that cost onto the consumer? We certainly cannot do that.
We also will ask that you support us to also increase our portfolio as the demand of the country increases, so that we may at least have about 75 to 85% of the installed capacity of this country to continue to support the economy of this country and also to ensure we have a reliable power for the country.
Meanwhile, Ghana is saving in excess of $300 million after renegotiation deals with independent power producers.
If you do the economics, and today you look at how much we pay to IPPs every month, if we are taking a bold decision and decide that, look, the tariffs we are charging today, let's escrow those amounts into an account. We're talking of about 70 million every month, US dollars. That is on the back of the envelope, 700, 140, $840 million every year, not cedis, times the number of years the IPs have been operating.
Away from the energy sector, private legal practitioner Godwin Edudzi says the High Court should not entertain the latest judicial review application by the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, the Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, speaking on a key point earlier this morning, argued that permitting such a process would create what he called constitutional chaos. Take a listen.
Is what you do is that you allow the High Court, when it comes to a commission of inquiry, but here you go to the Court of Appeal. And that is why for lawyers we say an appeal is a creature of statute.
Right.
There must be a statute that creates that right. Now when she looked at the option, she realized that no, there is no right of appeal envisaged under Article 146. So by legal ingenuity, try to come out with a judicial review, but to achieve the same end of an appeal. Because in an appeal, we say appeal is by way of rehearing. And so if you look at her relief, what she is seeking is to have a High Court judge now sit and say, okay, the Puaman-led committee, you have done your work, but to my mind as a judge, you were not fair to talk on. Basically, to have that High Court judge now sit in judgment over the Puaman-led committee, that is unconstitutional. That is constitutional lawlessness. Complete constitutional lawlessness.
You describe this as
complete constitutional lawlessness and should not be entertained.
Still on key points, private legal practitioner Martin Pebu has said that the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has every right to demand to know the reason for the establishment of a prima facie case against her, leading to a suspension and subsequent removal from office.
I wish we would get closure on this matter, right, far earlier. But it appears Justice Tokonu is not willing to have closure. She wants to continue going and going. So let's grant her her right, right? Yeah, she has a right to challenge. So when they get in there, the matter of jurisdiction may be raised again for the Supreme Court to determine. And when the Supreme Court determines it, then we'll know. Whichever way, bottom lines, at the end of the day, she wants to hold the committee accountable. And that one, she has a right to. As for the accountability, it can never be denied. So whether it will be done in the High Court or Supreme Court, we don't know.
Still on the key point, Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, says the move by the former Chief Justice is pointless, pointing to what he says may be ill-advised from her lawyers. Professor Ransford Jampo was responding to the latest court action by the former Chief Justice on the key point.
She may have misconducted herself as per the work of the Puaman Commission, but purely on humanitarian grounds. I was part of the school of thought that believes that, look, she, in order not to lose all her entitlements, I mean, maybe some appeals can be made to the president to consider purely from a humanitarian grounds. But the posturing that she's adopted, for me, is quite worrying, and is also frustrating to those of us who mean well for her and wants to talk behind the scenes such that something is done about her entitlement. And so I keep wondering and questioning the competence of those people advising her behind the scenes.
Well, you're still watching the Weekend Central here on TV3. We're going for a quick commercial break. We're back with more news. Stay with us.
In 94 cities for such or each students. Now, Nura Mohammed reports that that is only part of government support.
For the first time in years, private senior high schools have been included in government's free SHS program. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu's announcement on Thursday about the kind of support students placed in private education will receive sparked immense debate over whether the under 1,000 CD stipend is enough. Naftali Chebafo, Public Relations Officer for the Conference of Heads of Private Second Cycle Schools, COPS, explains.
The agreement is that those who will be posted will be day students. if you look at the components, just as student in a public senior high school, what government does is that government takes care of almost all the things they need. When I mentioned, I'm talking of the books, the uniform, ceremonial cloth, and those other things that is needed. So the essence of the 994 is not to purchase textbooks, uniform, etc. All those items on the prospectus will be supplied by government. So this amount is what is given to you as a school, which means for a semester you are looking at 497 cedis as your stipend, so as your recurrent expenditure too.
Meanwhile, for some parents, this couldn't have come at a better time.
See about private school and our government ones about the abo. Why are there private and government there? It is why are there?
With the government one, I think it's okay. It's okay because government is paying more of that for us. But as to the private ones, considering the system of the economy now, at least it's okay because half a loaf is better than none.
The new school year begins for first-year students on October 18. While public schools will have their tuition, feeding and school items covered as usual, free SHS private schools will have to adjust to this new transition to free secondary school education. Noura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
It used to be that a job meant people show up to work, sign a contract, and collect a monthly salary. But today, thousands of young people call themselves influencers, using social media to promote brands and get paid for it. And this very legitimate work or easy money. Christopher Strebe attempts to answer.
Together, gently step.
Scroll through Instagram, TikTok, or X, and you find them everywhere. Influencers. They sell lifestyles, products, and ideas with nothing more than a ring light and a smartphone. To their followers, it looks effortless. Post a picture, shoot a video, and cash out. But behind the filters and captions lies a bigger question. Can this really count as work?
It is a real job. The editing, the storyboarding, the conceptualization, it is a big job. It's like doing 10 people's job in one. And that is what marketing agencies do know. And marketing is a job.
For influencers like her, this is serious work. The effort behind every post, the strategy behind every caption, and the consistency it takes to stay relevant all form part of a growing digital profession.
Brands have seen the need to partner with influencers to put their products before consumers. So they bring a lot of value and it's measurable. Instantly, brands can start seeing results and they can tweak and optimize performance as it goes. Unlike TV or radio where you have to wait till the end of the campaign and then do an analysis and measure to see whether it was effective or not.
That shift has changed how companies spend on advertising. Many now set aside budgets specifically for influencer campaigns, treating them as partners in marketing.
If during national service you're getting paid 559 and the brand is paying you like times 10 of it, you take it and you take it seriously than probably your 9 to 5. All the benefits I get from my hybrid, I can get it in my content creation. But most of the benefits I get from my content creation, I can't get it in my hybrid. But now when I get invited to places, I meet people, I get to network. So it's the best of both worlds. This is corporate, but this is also corporate to an extent.
Influencing is flexible, but unstable. There are no fixed salaries, no pensions, no guarantees. Still, experts say that does not make it any less of a job.
Influencer marketing is a full-time job, but it has to be done right. If you're not doing the right things, then the brand won't see the results. You have to know your audience and their interests. You need to also understand the platforms they are going to look for those kind of products. So you create content and publish on those platforms. Number 2, you also need to understand content creation. It's not just about turning on the camera with a ring light and then pouting. It's not just about that. And I get into trouble when I say some of these things. But the reality is that you should communicate value.
So you've heard for yourself. Is influencing really a job? The answer might depend on how you define work. But there's one thing that's clear. Influencing is here to stay. Whether society calls it a real job or not, it's changing the way young people see work, money, and success. Christabel Success Trevor, TV3 News, Accra.
Interesting report there. Now, the Ghana Water Company Limited, Electricity Company of Ghana, and Graphic Communications Group Limited are three of the worst performing companies in the country. All these entities together recorded a total loss of more than 10 billion cedis in 2024 alone. That's why pressure now mounts on boards and chief executive officers of state-owned enterprises to transform recurring losses into profitable ventures. There's more in this report.
State-owned enterprises play a crucial role in Ghana's economic stability by providing essential public goods and services, creating jobs, and contributing to national revenue through dividends and taxes. However, persistent losses recorded by some of these enterprises have placed the state's investment and interest in a precarious position. A review of the operations of 152 SOEs by SIGA in 2024 revealed worrying trends. The sector recorded a loss after tax of 9.675 billion cedis, representing a 35.44% deterioration over the 7.143 billion cedis loss posted in 2023.
What is the challenge? The entities that the state does not have control, we are making more, we are receiving more from them. But the entities that the state has control, we are unable to sweat it and make so much. And it beats the imagination of all. That's why that which you have full control, you are unable to make so much returns.
In terms of liabilities, the sector's total obligations rose sharply to 281.9 billion cedis in 2024, up from 227 billion cedis in 2023. Liabilities from the energy subsector alone accounted for 65.05% of all SOE debts, with the Electricity Company of Ghana topping the list at 70.997 billion cedis. Other struggling entities include Ghana Water Company, Tema Oil Refinery, Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company, GNPA, the Graphic Communications Group Limited have consistently posted losses. On a brighter note, 9 entities including the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, Bui Power Authority, and the Ghana National Gas Company maintained profitability during the review period.
Per the data, about 9 entities constantly have been making profit for 5 years. It will interest you to note that for the first time in 3 decades, State Housing paid dividends to government in 2024 because of their consistency in profit making.
Director General of SIGA, Professor Michael Pese-White, noted that non-performing SOEs will face strict decisions after a comprehensive performance evaluation.
What is happening at the operational level might give insight into what could be determined at the policy level. What that meant is that there is an opportunity for, and I use these terms loosely, mergers, acquisitions, and for you know, some of them will just have to fizzle out if the need arises, or some of them will have to be reconstructed completely based on whatever assets they have.
He added that SIGA is seeking to sign performance contracts with more enterprises to enhance efficiency and ensure better financial outcomes. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
You're still watching Weekend Central. We'll be back with more news. Do stay with us.
and monetary thinking into agribusiness. What are the tax policy frameworks? From the roadside to my factory is barely 1 kilometer, but twice have my articulated stand, the highest taxpayer in the region. Nobody cares about my road. Nobody. I brought power from the roadside to my factory, and everybody tapped on it. And then I could not even have power. I have to go and buy my own transformer again. Nobody cares about industry players. How do we have a fiscal policy and a monetary policy that ensures that your food we are pebiano,
Also addressing participants, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Agri Impact Limited, Juliana Asantidate, called for increased government investment in agribusiness infrastructure to reduce the country's high rate of post-harvest losses. She revealed that Ghana loses over $2 billion annually to post-harvest losses, an alarming figure that she said requires immediate intervention.
As a nation, we are losing between 20 to 50% of what we harvest before it even gets into the market. We are losing over $2 billion worth of food annually. And then on top of that, we are also losing almost the same figure in post-harvest losses. So if you put the two together in lost revenue and also in foreign exchange burdens, it's costing us over $3 billion every year in foreign exchange and lost income. And we must really stop this narrative.
However, Deputy Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Samson Ahi, assures the government will formulate policies to help address the challenges associated with agribusiness.
We believe that to have any concrete ideas into the policy with regards to cashew and then poultry, we shouldn't sit in Accra and do that. We should come to the doorsteps of the people who have knowledge. Most of them have practical knowledge in production of poultry and then cashew. So we are here just to solicit for their views, what they want to see in the policy when it is finalized.
Now, the Kusau Traditional Council, under the leadership of Bokunaba Sigri Abugrago Azoka II, has formally submitted a petition calling for the creation of a new region for the Kusau traditional area. Well, the petition was presented on Friday to the Upper East Regional Minister, Akamugri Donatus Atanga, by a delegation representing the Boko Naba. Proponents argue that a new region will decentralize governance and allow for more focused allocation of state resources to the area. The area currently comprises several districts in the eastern part of the Upper East region. Now, market women at the Bolgatanga Old Market are calling on authorities to ensure they have access to locked stores and sheds that were allocated to people many years ago but have remained unused. Upper East Regional Correspondent Tanko Mohammed Rabiu is joining me with details on this particular subject. Tanko, good afternoon to you. Now, paint a picture of the market environment, especially since today is Bolgatanga Market Day.
Yes, thank you very much. As you already mentioned, I'm currently at the Bolgatanga Old Market. It's a market day today, and then as you can see at the background, it's very, very empty due to the locked stores and sheds which have been abandoned for a long time. Most of these people who own these shops and sheds are currently doing their business at the new market as they are paying for the stores and sheds. But the current market women who are here at the old market are saying that the locks, due to the locked shares and the stores, is affecting them because a lot of people do not come here because here is virtually empty. So what they are saying is that the municipal chief executive or the assembly should reallocate the stores to people who need them because there are a lot of people who want to do their business here at the old market, but they are not getting the stores to even pay at the assembly.
And what is the assembly saying concerning this development?
Yes, immediately after the consent of the women, I called the MC who is currently in Accra he mentioned that though the attention of the women has not been drawn to him as they allege, but he is aware of the situation at the market. But the assembly is reconsidering, redesigning the market in such a way that most of these stores will be reallocated to people who want to do business. But for now, he's in Accra, he's not able to say much. But from what he's saying, that since he assumed office, the attention has been drawn to him, though he's aware. So that is what is happening currently from the side of the MC Roland Atanga Ayo.
Right, many thanks for your time. Tanka Rabiu is Upper East Regional Correspondent. He's been joining us with more details on that particular subject.
Well, let's know what you make of stories that have aired so far. We are active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Engage us with your comments, opinions, and observations. Hopefully, read them and share them to the rest of the world. In observance of Pink October, the Ghana Immigration Service ladies in the secondary Takoradi metropolis have taken to the streets to raise awareness about the growing threat of breast cancer in Ghana. The ladies emphasized the crucial importance of regular screenings, urging the public to prioritize their health and take proactive steps against it. My colleague Irma Smith has filed this report.
We are in Pink October, a month dedicated to create awareness about breast cancer, the importance of early detection, and also supporting those affected by the disease. And you know, in Ghana, most of those who are affected report rather late, resulting in those early deaths. And it is in the spirit of this that the ladies of the Ghana Immigration Service here in Secondary Takoradi embarked on this float through the principal street of Secondary Takoradi in their pink T-shirts. Whilst they were on the route, they were also educating the public about this message. You may listen to the PRO of the Immigration Service here.
Breast cancer is still killing us, and daily people get affected. And we have, if you check our staff list from Takoradi, we have 95 ladies on our staff list. So you could see that our ladies' presence is very strong in this sector. And today we embarked on a float to educate the general public and also create awareness. Early detection saves life, and every life matters.
So the Immigration Service ladies did this in collaboration with the Takoradi Hospital. And so personnel from this health facility actually doing the breast screening. After the float, they assembled at one place where they carried out free breast screening exercises while advising and also educating the people. You may listen to a public health nurse at the Takoradi Hospital, Linda Manford.
Detect on time, we can save the person's life. Example, somebody saw a lump on the breast and this person didn't sit down. Apart from the lump, there was some discharges from the nipple. This person didn't sit down, came to the hospital on time. We also do further investigation. Labs were done and we realized that it was truly breast cancer. Because the person came on time, we were able to save this person's life. So if you are able to report on time, we can definitely save you. That is why we are saying, if you see any of the signs we mentioned today, don't sit in the house, come to the hospital, let's do a further investigation.
And now the Ear, Nose and Throat ENT Nurses Group Ghana has appealed to the government through the Ministry of Health to prioritize support for their specialty. The national chairperson of the group, Esther Oseb Berkron, spoke to TV3 News at the 11th Annual Conference and Scientific Session at the ENT Group at Judicial in the Ashanti region.
First priority of our challenge is our data dissemination. In the Ghana Health Service, we have something we call DIMS, whereby all data, that is the work that we are doing at the facility level, at the district level, at the regional level, are checked forwards to the national level for those informations to be seen that you are working. But for the period that we have been in the existence and the period that DIMS has been in existence, ENT data is not on it. ENT has not been captured on that DIMS. So when we do our work at the facility level, we are not able to input it. Every month there is data validation whereby informations are put in the DIMS. But we have never been caught, or even when we go, we don't get the format or the site for us to put those information that we are. And it's a very challenge that we are having.
And now Ghana is taking bold steps to strengthen its healthcare system by equipping medical practitioners across the country with cutting-edge skills. This is to reduce the number of deaths and improve better emergency care, especially for children.
Healthcare remains a vital part of everyday life, and Ghanaians continue to hope for better and more responsive medical services. In hospitals across the country, expectations are high. Patients walk in seeking exceptional care and healing, though that is not always guaranteed. To address this, the University of Ghana Medical Center is leading a simulation training program aimed at enhancing the hands-on skills of medical professionals to better manage critical situations.
Sometimes in an emergency, you don't have the luxury of time to think. So if you go through this, then things become quite spontaneous.
We need to make sure that our healthcare workers are adaptable and can handle anything, any mistakes, any problems that come at them.
So it's a very practical way of coming together to understand and better solve approaches and practical emergency situations that we face in theaters whilst we deal with children.
We see this as a very effective way of teaching health professionals to be much more competent and much more efficient in delivery of care.
Children's health is also a key focus of the initiative, as Ghana works towards a future where every child receives safe and effective care. With over 1,000 anesthesiologists nationwide, improving emergency response is a top priority.
Very soon, in any hospital where a child comes in, you know that the outcomes will be good. Of course, we are not God. As much as depends on us, they will get the best care possible. So the impact will be huge.
Speaking at a training session for pediatric and anesthesiology practitioners, CEO of UGMC, Dr. Abdul Samed Tango, believes building a better healthcare system will be beneficial for all citizens.
The aim precisely to make sure that patients get the best out of it. This is supposed to enable them to acquire the skills. When this is acquired, they'll be able to translate it. It will be translated during their surgeries so that children can have better treatment.
As Ghana continues to invest in medical training, the goal is clear: to deliver better outcomes and ensure every patient receives the care they deserve.
Well, Judith, it's good to see you back on Weekend Central. You've been missed.
Thank you. I miss you as well. And that's how we wrap up the news bulletin right here on Weekend Central. My name is Judith Brown. I've been doing this with.
My name is Josh Kwaning. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. Also, you can follow us on TV3.news on Instagram for the latest updates. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.